Monday morning, just a few minutes left of it, but what a morning it's been, has it not? Manchester United sacking Ruben Amorim as we came on air at 10 o'clock. It's Jim White, Simon Jordan and Martin Keown, and we are live in talkSPORT with Selco Builders Warehouse. Check out this month's real deals at selcobw.com. I, like so many others, either listened to or was glued to the darts from Ali Pali over the weekend. And of course, what did we see? We saw Luke Litler in the final, thrashing Gian Van Veen 7-1 to win the PDC World Championship for the second year running. The 18-year-old Englishman becomes just the fourth player to win the title back-to-back years, joining Phil Taylor, Adrian Lewis, Gary Anderson in the process. This was Luke after the win.
It's a habit, but it's definitely a good one. Picking up trophies, it's all I've ever wanted to do in the sport. But yeah, tonight's very special. Going back to back, the first time anyone's done it for 10 years since the great Gary Anderson. And yeah, I'm added to the list of people to go back to back.
So it is a phenomenon, not just the sensation of what goes on inside the Ali Pali arena, but the number of people who watch it, who listen to it. It really is incredible. And Luke Littler came out on top again. The chief exec of the PDC is Matt Porter, who joins us live. Matt, good morning. As I say, what's left of it. What about Luke Littler? How long can he dominate at this level, do you think, Matt?
Well, that's the big question everyone's asking now, Jim, isn't it? I mean, what Luke's done over the last couple of years since coming onto the pro scene has been absolutely remarkable and unprecedented for someone of his age. So, you know, people are looking at it and saying, can he go on and emulate Phil Taylor, 16 world titles? I guess his next target is Michael van Gerwen's 3, then Raymond van Barneveld's 5. But in all honesty, the way he's playing now and the age that he's at, you know, you couldn't rule out him at least getting into double figures, could you?
You could not. You're right, Matt. Simon, he's burst onto the scene, which prompts the question, does every minority sport, I mean, darts is up there, but it's not boxing, I suppose. It's not football, which is a dominant sport. Does every sport, minority or not, need a Luke Littler?
Well, I think he's a wonderful phenomenon. It's a remarkable sport. I mean, if you look at the development of Matchroom and their opportunities, one of the biggest opportunities has been darts. If you look at one of our friends that I think has bought a percentage of Matchroom predominantly because of the darts and the opportunity that darts evolves around the world. I mean, he's a phenomenal talent. He's 18 years of age. I mean, we saw Michael van Gerwen break onto the scene when he was in his early 20s, and he was considered to be very young and very, very dynamic and very exciting. This is a whole different end of the spectrum. I would like him to see him look a little bit fitter and less like the Pillsbury Doughboy, but that's a different discussion.
That doesn't matter. Does it matter, Matt, what he looks like?
You know what? It's funny. When I was thinking about this interview a few minutes ago, I thought the first thing Simon Jordan's going to do is make some sort of jibe, and he's lived up to expectations. So well done, Simon.
Well, I'm pleased to have met your expectations.
He throws darts, doesn't he?
The fact that you got a young boy as a poster boy and you'd like to see him look a little bit healthier, as a parent, I assume you are a parent, because I'm a parent, I would like my son to be as healthy as he possibly can be. What I did do was give him a load of praise. So I'm sorry you thought it was a jibe. I thought it was a fair observation.
I mean, look, you know, Luke's an 18-year-old boy, and a lot of 18-year-olds go through issues with their body development, don't they? He's still maturing. He's still coming to terms with his life in the spotlight and his life as a very rich young man. So it's up to him which path he chooses to take as he progresses. But I think the main thing to focus on at the moment is the talent that he's got and the profile that he's brought to the
Matt,
sport.
I don't care what he looks like. He's an incredible darts player. You know, it's like, okay, we had Ronnie O'Sullivan in snooker. Darts is a phenomenon, isn't it? In terms of watching it, people, you know, everyone can play it. Obviously, I think he's quite magnificent, Simon.
As a darts player, I think it's phenomenal. Not seen like him, have you?
Well, on that, Matt, has the rise of the sport even surpassed your expectations?
Yeah, I think, you know, darts has been on an upward trajectory for a couple of decades now, certainly at least 12 to 15 years. And then what we've seen since COVID is a real step change in terms of growth. You know, whilst everyone was locked up at home, one of the things that the country started doing, and actually all around the world, people started playing darts. You know, so we've seen a huge amount of growth since that period. We were pretty much the first professional sport back up to full speed during and after COVID, because of the nature of the sport enabled it to be played in that manner. So it was quite fortuitous in that respect. But then since Luke's, emergence in the last 2 years, it's taken on another leap because he's brought an audience to us that we haven't previously had. You know, a digital first, a social media first audience, people who consume their news in that way and are, you know, obsessed with celebrity and you know, enjoy the world of clickbait that Luke can deliver.
Could a Luke Littler dominance be a bad thing for the sport, though, as well, Matt? You want to see others coming through?
Yeah, I think that's a fair point. You know, when I look at when I started working on darts in the sort of early to mid 2000s, Phil Taylor was the dominant force, and it was very much the case that if, you know, Phil turned up and got through his first round match at an event, we knew he was pretty much going to win it.
But Matt, won't this...
And that was good in respect of Phil. Phil sort of transcended darts. Phil became, you know, the name that people who didn't follow darts were aware of. But now the sport's in a different place, and there's a lot more strength in depth. So I think, you know, what you'll see at the moment is a huge chasing pack. Behind Luke Littler, there are, you know, at least a dozen other players who would fancy their chances of winning an event if he wasn't in it. So the challenge for them is, can they raise their game that 5% or make sure that they're on their A game when he drops off 5%? And keep it competitive, because clearly you want a star, you want a, you know, a flag waver, but you don't want it to become repetitive and predictable.
But Matt, doesn't a young star secure the future of darts? Because this would inspire young kids, wouldn't it, to pick up their darts and feel that they could do the same?
I mean, it already is doing. As you saw, his opponent in the world final, Jan van Veen, is 23 years old. You know, the world final had a combined age of 41, which is probably with the age profile of our players from 10 years ago as an individual. So the sport is becoming, you know, more and more popular amongst young people. I think there's something like 8,000 registered players with the Junior Darts Corporation in this country, and they've got over 200 registered academies around the world. So people are picking up darts at a younger age. Boys and girls can play against each other, which I think is a massive asset for the sport. And you're just going to see more and more kids coming through, first of all, the academy system, and then into our development tour for 16 to 23-year-olds and onto the pro circuit.
Finally, from me, Matt, is Luke Littler already at 18 a British sporting great? And if so, what are the ingredients that go into making a British sporting great?
I don't know if you become a great after 2 years. I think you maybe need, you know, a little bit more than that. You know, he's not a fad. If he was a fad, he'd be 6 months or 12 months, but he's kind of in that in-between phase, isn't he? I think if he can sustain what he's doing now for the next 3 to 5 years and beyond that, then certainly he'll be, you know, he'll be spoken of in that light. But he's got to show the longevity. He's got to show, you know, the dedication, the right attitude that he's doing at the moment for a longer period of time in order to be truly considered as someone who, you know, the British public will fall in love with, not just for the duration of their career, but beyond it as well.
Okay, Matt, thank you very much indeed for what you gave us. Terrific tournament. And Luke Littler, not for the first time, came out on top, the PDC World Champion for the second year running. It's 12 noon.